Hello friends, today we will discuss discretionary power of the president. Discretionary powers of the president. First of all, first thing, the word discretion is not mentioned in the constitution for the president, not in the constitution. But a very important thing is that for the governor, it is mentioned under Article 163 for the governor. Second thing, the word discretion means that the president will act on the basis of his mind and not on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. No, he will be judging on his own mind. Okay. Third point we can say here, since it is not mentioned in the constitution, so we can say that it is implicit by some articles and some circumstances that we are saying here that it is there in the constitution. So it is implicit and no such word in the constitution for the president only. Okay, so there are some articles from where we can infer such thing, or there are some circumstances where we can infer that thing. Okay, so we will discuss first articles and then the circumstances. So first are the articles. First of all, we all know that president has three types of vetoes: absolute veto, suspensive veto, and pocket veto. On the three, it is done on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. These two are done on the discretion of the president. Second thing, so it means it is there in the constitution and we can infer this. Okay. Also the term veto is not mentioned in the constitution. We also infer this by the provisions of the constitution. So we can get this from under Article 111. Second is under Article 74. We know that this thing, okay, that a president can refer any advice of the Council of Ministers for reconsideration, right? So the advice he is sending is not on the advice of the Council of Ministers, but on his own discretion. So again we can say that the referring the advice for reconsideration is again a discretion power of the president. Third, we will discuss it later in a great detail. Under Article 78, a president has a right to be informed. We will discuss it when we will do legislature. We can understand this in a clear detail there. Okay, so these are the three articles under Article 111, under Article 74, and under Article 78. So these three articles are there for the discretionary power of the president. Now there are some circumstances too where a president can enjoy his discretionary power. So what are the circumstances? First is the appointment of Prime Minister. So we all know leader of the ruling party will be the Prime Minister. But when there is hung parliament, what is the meaning of hung parliament? That when any party or a coalition party cannot prove majority. Where? In the Lok Sabha. Okay. Second condition is when death of Prime Minister plus no obvious successor also. Okay, so we will discuss some examples of it now. In 1979, so this is example of 1979, but for some background, we will go to 1977. That year, Congress lose the elections after the light of emergencies, and Morarji Desai party has made the government. So in 1977, Morarji Desai made the Prime Minister. 1979, Morarji Desai government has fallen. His government has fallen. Reason? Because coalition parties has withdrew their support. And now what happened? There is the hung parliament. Because now in the parliament there is no any party or a coalition that proves the majority. Okay. So what happened after the hung parliament? In that case, president has a right to choose any person, right? That can be made the prime minister. So that time there were three contenders who are competing to make the prime ministers. Those three were Babu Jagjeevan Ram, Morarji Desai, the same person, and third was the Chaudhry Charan Singh. You can write this. Okay. So these three were the contenders. But now it is on the discretion of the president that which person he will choose. So that time he has chosen Chaudhry Charan Singh as the prime minister. Okay. So this is again the application of mind of the president, and it is not on the advice of the Council of Ministers. So this is the one example. You can write in your own words. Second, we can take of death. Jawaharlal Nehru died in 1964. Lal Bahadur Shastri died in 1966, and Indira Gandhi died in 1984. So these three were died when they were prime minister. Okay. So what happens when Nehru died? Then Gulzari Lal Nanda was made the acting president. Who? Gulzari Lal Nanda was made the acting prime minister, not president, acting prime minister. So this was done on the advice of the Congress, because they have a person who can be made prime minister, and that person was Lal Bahadur Shastri. But again, 1966, Lal Bahadur Shastri died. What happened then? Uh, Again, Gulzarlal Nanda was made the acting president, and finally, Indira Gandhi was made the uh, prime minister. But in 1984, when Indira Gandhi died, there was no obvious successor. No one knows that who will make the prime minister now. So here, president applies his own mind and made Rajiv Gandhi the prime minister. So you can say, therefore, 1980 in 1984, president used his second discretion power the first time. Okay, when Rajiv Gandhi was made the prime minister. Third condition or third circumstance we will see of the second circumstance of the dismissal of ministers. So this is actually under Article 75. Can a president remove any minister today? No. If Council of Ministers fails to show the majority, or in some technical words we can say, if he cannot prove the confidence, president on his own dismiss the Council of Ministers. Generally, this condition not happens when a single party is in majority, but this generally happens when a coalition party is in majority, because we cannot be sure that if any party withdrew its support, right? So now, what happened after this when a president dismissed the ministers? So next step is that president will wait. If some parties are joining, making a coalition, so president will wait. If there comes any alternative government, president will wait that some alternative government will be formed, right? So if by some coalition, if parties form the coalition and they form the government, and by showing the majority, alternative government can be made. But what happened if this is not successful? Parties cannot form the alternative government. What happened next? Then what will be the case? If Lok Sabha coalition cannot be formed and no alternative government can be formed, then there will be dissolution of the Lok Sabha. This is again C, the third circumstance where there is a discretionary power of the president. So when this happens, when Council of Ministers cannot show majority and they cannot prove the confidence again now, okay, so then this will happen. So what? So every dissolution of Lok Sabha is followed by the dismissal of Council of Ministers. When dismissed, when Council of Ministers are dismissed, then only president can dissolve the Lok Sabha. Okay. Now I want to add one thing here, that every Lok Sabha has 5 years of term, but if president dissolves the Lok Sabha, then only it will decrease. Otherwise, if there is a if there is a dismissal of the Council of Ministers and then again a party will be formed, then it will remain the 5 years of term. But if there is a dissolution of the Lok Sabha, then terms will be 5 years, not. Then this will be not a 5 year term. I can rephrase it. Okay. So this will not be a 5 year term. If I ask you a question that is there is a term for Lok Sabha in the constitution, and you will answer, yeah, it is 5 years, you will be wrong, because a, a prime minister is there in the office only up to the pleasure of the president. Okay, so in a parliamentary form of government, you cannot say that there is a term for the Lok Sabha or term for the president or term for the prime minister. Let us take an example here. Okay, this also happens when a party think that in the future I will not be able to win the elections. They also that time they also that time advise the president to dissolve. Okay, let me clear one doubt here. You may have that a prime minister advises the president to dissolve the Lok Sabha. In the case if they have majority, but they think that they will not be able to form the party in the upcoming years. But if they cannot show majority in the Lok Sabha, then it is the discretion of the president. Okay, let me give you an example. It will clear you. Telangana, formed in 2014. If we will see that its 5 year term will be in 2019. KCR Rao was the chief minister of there. In 2019, Lok Sabha elections are also there, so the Telangana elections. Okay, but KCR Rao thought that whenever simultaneous elections will be there, so whenever such elections are there, there can be a situation then that a person may, if he is voting for the BJP in the central government, he may also vote for the BJP in the state government. So what did KCR Rao did? He advises the president to dissolve the assembly of Telangana in 2018. Okay. So now next elections will be in 2023. Okay. So here he has advised. He has majority, but he has advised. If suppose the case is that a non-confidence motion was passed and they cannot show the majority, then it is the discretion power of the president that he will dissolve the assembly. Okay. So this is just and I want to add one more example here. Chaudhry Charan Singh was made the prime minister in 1979. Okay, and then in 1980, parties that formed the coalition withdrew their support, and then 1980 he himself also resigned. And that time in 1980, so parties has withdrew their support, and okay, so there is a dismissal of the Council of Ministers because they cannot show the majority now. President waited so that some alternative government can be formed, but this was not happened. So what did now president did? He has dissolved the Lok Sabha. Okay, so this is the example where he has used his discretion to dissolve. Thank you.